We're used to thinking, seeing the world, someone becomes rich, and sometimes afterwards became poor. Someone that was poor became rich. Someone that was single became a chassan, found a kala. Some people sometimes lost it. Everyone should live and be well. Different things happen in life. There's ups, there's downs, all kinds, spiritually, physically. Family. It's not by chance. Rosh Hashanah is the time like the Baruch Hu decides what's going to be next year. We all want to have success. We want to make through with success. Hashem should say we should have a good year. How do you do it? How do you get there? There's two things which Chazal say. One, there's something to it, and it's an important thing, but it's not the main thing. And that is, when Hashem is deciding what's going to be the next year, when a person expresses what he wants, by this, Hashem says, yes, this is what you're expressing, this is what you want, there's a good chance Hashem will say, okay. For example, that's the idea of the honey. You take the apple, you dip in honey. What's the idea? You're expressing, Hashem, I want a sweet year. Like the honey. When you express physically, you express this idea, it could work. But it's not enough. It doesn't work by itself. It's open Gemara, open Shulchan Aruch, that it could be of help. And that's why people do it. Except for doing it, also, there's a request. There's a prayer. Hashem, please give me a sweet year. When you have the head of the fish or the head of the sheep, whatever the minhag is, each one with his minhagim, also, it's not a joke, it's something. You're saying, Hashem, I'm expressing, I want to be in the top. I want to be in the bottom of the class. I want to be the bottom of the world. I'm on top, and the top is the head. They're expressing this. It's a good chance Hashem will say yes. But it's not enough. Says the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, Daftet Zayin Amud Bet. Says the Gemara, a year, Kol Shana, She'ina Rosha B'tchilasa, Merin B'sefer. What does that mean? Says Rashi, if in the beginning of the year you're begging, you're praying, oh Hashem, help, please help. You're praying, you mean it. I know I did wrong things. I'll try to be so much better this year. Please help me. I want to have success in every way. When it comes to the right time, each one wants to be a chatan. Whoever's married doesn't have kids wants children, and so on. He wants his parents and family to live and be well. He wants his friends to live and be well. When you're asking things, you're requesting it, you're begging. Tachanuni mida berosh, as Rashi. You're begging. When you're begging, this is what does it. When you're begging, much more in the apple and honey. The apple and honey you have to do, because also there's something to it. Shulchan Aruch is supposed to do it. But except for all the physical things, the main thing is asking, oh Hashem, please help. That's the way. When Daven Shmona Esrei, Zachreinu L'chaim, Hashem, let me live this year through to come to the next Rosh Hashanah, 120. The davening, the requesting, is much more powerful. And if so, the question is, what could I do to make my tefillah, a prayer, be accepted? If you have your best friend, you really like him, he asks you, listen, I know you have some chocolates. I saw you buying a package. Can I have one? If it's a good friend, there's a much better chance they'll give you a chocolate. But if it's a person that did you a lot of bad things, the halakha is you're supposed to say, so even though I'm going to forget all the past, I can say one word, I'm going to give you. You don't even remind him about the past. That's the way to do it. Lo tikom ve lo titor. There's a halakha. You're not allowed to take revenge. Forget it. Now let's be friends. What was, from today, we are friends. But a natural feeling of a person is someone did me so much bad, and then he dares to ask me all the kind of nice things. He dares ask all the kind of nice things after all the bad he did to me. So since this is a natural thing, Hashem made it that way to show how He does kaviyachol the same kind of idea. Meaning, someone that did wrong, a lot of bad. There's Hashem, I want to live. Very nice. Shouldn't it make a lot of sense? Hashem says, all the bad you did and you want a good life? The truth is though, Hashem usually doesn't do that. Hashem says, even though you did all the bad things, I love you. You're my son. I'm going to help you anyway. Usually. When Hashem sees there's no chance, sometimes, like a person has no chance, he has to do operation. Chas v'shalom. He has to do operation. That's painful. That's the idea. We want Hashem to accept our prayers. What do you do in the direction of trying to get that Hashem should help and listen to your prayers? Another word on the subject. A lot of times the boy wants to be a chatan. He wants to have a mazel tov. He wants to be a chatan. He wants a good kala. He thinks, this girl, no one like her in the world. She's exactly for me. Hashem knows if he gets married to her, she's going to make his life a misery. He's going to get divorced within 2 years. Hashem, he wants that to be his kala. I'm very sorry. Listen, let Hashem, you could ask, I want a good kala, says the Gemara. Don't ask for a specific girl. She also should not ask for a specific boy. You don't know what's going to be. Sometimes at the beginning it sounds like you're good friends. With 2 years it's divorce, or worse. If you see Hashem's making, don't get broken. Hashem knows it's good for you. But to ask you want a good kala is correct. You're supposed to daven for that. Now, what makes the Hashem should accept the prayers? The way Hashem makes everything in the world is a thing called midah keneged midah. Meaning, when someone sins, did he do bad to Hashem? No. He didn't do bad to Hashem, he did bad to himself. Someone sinned, he got AIDS. Did he do bad to anyone? He did it to himself. Someone sinned, he had sick and AIDS. Who did he do bad to? To his parents? To himself. No one else but himself. The same idea is also, a person sins, he's doing bad to himself. He doesn't see it today, he sees it tomorrow, if not the next day. The question is, when is he going to see it? But he's doing bad to himself with the sin. So what does Hashem care? He's doing bad to himself. Why does Hashem give reward and punishment? When you do good, you get reward. Bad is punishment. Why? A person doing bad to himself. You know why? Do you ever see what happens? A little kid, 3 years old, runs into a highway. Cars are flying. What do you think the father's going to do? Little kid, he's running into the street, and his car is flying. What do you think the father's going to do? He's going to scream, and he might even, what are you doing? He did it to himself. What's your business? The kid's endangering his life to himself. Sometimes he needs some of those. That's the only way he's going to learn. Don't run into the street in front of the car's wheels. So sometimes Hashem, because He loves us, that is why. So the Hashem is to give some of those. Look how many people, when it hurts, a lot of times, they come to the kotel. They're waking up. And Hashem gives good or bad, it's for our good. When a person does good, it's good. That's good for himself. When he sins, it does bad to himself. But the Tati, the Father, loves us. He doesn't want us to fall down. He doesn't want us to be demolished from our own bad deeds. He wants to pull us back up. That's why. It's not because we did him bad, taking revenge. We didn't do him anything. A pasuk says it's for us. What do you do that Hashem should listen to our prayers? Midah keneged midah. So what does that mean? The way a person acts, this is the way Hashem acts to him. You push the buttons. When a person gets electric shock, he did it to himself. He pushed the wrong button. electric shock. When a person acts in a certain way, that because of that, it's good for him to get the operation, chas v'shalom, he did it to himself. Midah keneged midah, which means the way a person does, he's doing it to himself. If this is what he deserves, he did it to himself. That's what he deserved. That's what's good for him. A lot of times that's to do how we treat our fellow friends. If we treat our friends nicely, with a lot of thoughtfulness and caring to someone else, Hashem says, listen, this person, he's doing good to himself because he's such a good person to others. Hashem will also give him all the niceness he gives others. He's so good to someone else. Hashem says, just as good to someone else. So midah keneged midah, the way he acts, the way he deserves, that's what's good for him. That's good for him to have good things. But someone that's cruel to other people, he's very not thoughtful. He disturbs others. He hurts their feelings. He doesn't care. He doesn't care he's doing bad to someone else, making a monetary loss or anything else to someone else. Some other person is very hurt his feelings. He doesn't care. What do you think he's doing to himself? If Hashem gives him all the best, what's he going to do? He's going to take all the best and use it against people. He likes, when he becomes big and important, in English they call it throwing the weights around, He likes to show, I'm the big boss, I'm the big guy, I'm the big smart aleck. And he's hurting everyone. If Hashem gives him only good, even though he's hurting everyone, what do you think he's going to do? He'll feel great. And he's going to hurt others even more. So he's doing it to himself bad. Hashem can't give him good if so. Because when he feels important, he hurts people, you can't give him good. And when he's good to people, and the more he's having a good time, he also tries to give others a good feeling, a good honorable feeling, a feeling of appreciation, of being careful in their feelings, careful in someone else's money and everything else. If so, Hashem says, this is good for him. It's good for him to receive good. The way a person does, this is the way he gets. His sins, good, bad, his good, his merits, he's doing it for himself. So therefore, what's extremely important for Rosh Hashanah is to see how to be correct and proper to people. It's from the biggest bases of preparation for Rosh Hashanah. The problem is, we are all human, and a lot of times we all lost our tempers. We all had times we hurt people. People who are married have to be super careful not to hurt the wives and not to scream at the kids when they don't even deserve it. To be a good husband, a good father. But it's not only when they get married. It's roommates, it's in the yeshiva, it's in the world. Being a good person. A lot of times though, we hurt someone in some way. We made a mistake. What do you do now? Says Shulchan Aruch, you're supposed to ask forgiveness. In this, there's a lot of halachot. And I think these halachot are extremely important. So let's take a couple of questions on these halachot of asking forgiveness of someone that we hurt. It could be someone that we hurt. It could be someone that we caused to sin. If we called someone, come here, do a sin. So we did bad to him. You have to also ask forgiveness. The challenge is, there's a line of halachot about how to ask forgiveness. Number one, I want to ask you a question. Someone who did bad to someone else. I'll take for example, a girl was looking into this boy, if he's a good shidduch for her or not. You're a roommate, or you're a friend. They asked you all about him. What do you say about Joe Smith? You're a bit jealous, let's say, or whether you're angry at him for some reason. Last night, he came in 1:30 in the morning and turned on the lights and he woke you up, you're angry at him. So, what are you doing? You're taking a bit of revenge. Not nice, it's wrong. So what are you doing? You say like this, oh, he's not a good boy at all. Don't get married to him. Oh my. He thought he's going to become a chatan. And when they asked you all about him, you said, no, don't get married to him. He's not a good one. And then he lost, I guess it wasn't the right one anyway, but that's very painful. It's very painful. He doesn't know who said, no, I'm not going to go on a shidduch with you. I heard you're not a good boy. I hear you're not a nice guy. That's very painful. Who did that to me? 2 years later, all of a sudden you wake up. I was really wrong. I really shouldn't have done that. It was Lashon Hara. It was worse. I was so wrong in doing this to this guy. It was so terrible of me. Now, you have to ask forgiveness. You walk over to the guy who's still not engaged. Walk over to him. Say, you remember 2 years ago someone wanted you as a chatan? Yeah. You know who's the one that ruined it? Me. You know what you just did to him? In English they say, you made him see stars in the daylight, as they say. You just hurt him by just saying, you did this terrible thing to me. Because of you, I'm not a chatan. I'm not engaged because of you. Are you allowed to do this? You have to ask for forgiveness. You have to ask forgiveness because you hurt him. You did bad to him. If you're going to ask forgiveness, you're going to hurt him more. I thought you're a friend. This is called a friend. You did this to me? So you're stuck. Whatever you do is wrong. If you don't ask for forgiveness, you have a sin. If you do ask forgiveness, which means I really ruined your life nicely. You're hurting him worse. So what do you gain? So what are you supposed to do? You're stuck from both. You're holding the rope from both ends. What do you do? We see in Talmud Yerushalmi at the end of Masechet Yuma, also in the Mishnah Berurah, and the Sefer Chavetz Chaim. When you put it all together, this is what comes out. Listen to this. Walk over to your friend. And you really regret. You really feel bad. You ever did such a terrible thing. You walk over to your friend and you say, "Listen, my dear friend, I have something on my conscience. I once did bad to you, and I really regret it. I'll never do it again." What was it? I'm so ashamed. Please, have mercy on me. I can't face you. I feel uncomfortable. Please, I don't want to hurt you. I feel like, please, I'm not going to do it again. I did something wrong. Just please forgive me. If you don't spell it out, exactly what happened, he knows that years ago, once you did something to him, he's not going to like it so much. It's not so painful as saying exactly what you did, exactly it was you, and that's really bad. If you say, I'm asking forgiveness. There is something I did years ago. I'm sorry I did it. Please forgive me. What was it? Please. Don't ask all the exact what it was. I feel uncomfortable. Please. We're good friends. I don't mean bad. I'm never going to do anything bad to you. And years ago, I once made a mistake. A person makes a mistake. I'm almost sure he's going to say he forgives. If he's a nice guy. So this way, you got the forgiveness, but you didn't spell out in a way that really is painful. So you spell out, says Yerushalmi. You say, Sul Chisalach. What does that mean? I did something not good to you, and please forgive me. But you don't say exactly what happened in order not to make him more painful. What do you do if you ask forgiveness, he doesn't want to forgive? You want him to forgive. What do you do then? You're supposed to try 3 times, each time a different direction, not one after another, because it's upsetting him, getting angry, in this direction, that direction. If you think that asking a friend, he really didn't mean it. He's a good friend of yours. He just made a mistake. After 3 times, you don't have to try and inherit it. But try to get forgiveness 3 times. Number 1. Number 2. Sometimes you're not sure. Maybe you owe someone money. You're driving a car. And when you're driving the car, this is Yankele's car. And we're driving by, quite close. After you saw a scratch on the other guy's car. But you don't know it was you. Maybe it was there before. 50%, 50-50. Maybe it was me, maybe it wasn't. That was a year ago, whatever. You never asked forgiveness, but you don't know if you did it. If you know you did it, if there's forgiveness or if it costs you money, tell me how much was the damage. You owe money, you have to pay money. But if it's not a question, you're not even sure you did it. I didn't hear anything, I didn't feel anything. I was pretty close. I saw a scratch. I don't know if it was me or not. I didn't feel it. I didn't see anything. I know if it was me. Am I supposed to go ask forgiveness and just get him all upset with me? Or maybe I didn't even do it. When you don't know if you even owe him money in the first place, you're not obligated to embarrass yourself and go say, I did like that. Okay, you don't even know you did it. He'll be sure you did it. If you're already asking about it, it must be you're the one who damaged his car. It was a brand new car and you made a scratch and he's all angry with you. You're not even sure you did it. If you know you did it and you don't remember, did you ever pay for it? It was a long time ago. If you know you did it, you don't know if you paid, you have to either pay up or ask forgiveness. But you don't even know you owe the money in the first place. You don't know you owe the money, you don't have to. This goes in a lot of things. Sometimes, someone remembers when he was a kid, he took something without permission. Different people tell me when they were kids, they stole a sweet or a toy from the toy store. They grow older and they shame themselves. They were small kids and it was wrong. It was terrible. Now what? What do you do before Hashanah? It wants to be clean. If you remember you took something from that store, for example, so you have to make sure you pay. You have to embarrass yourself and say, listen, when I once took a toy or a sweet from the store and I didn't pay for it. You don't have to embarrass yourself. So what do? If you know someone living in the neighborhood, say next time you go next to the toy store, next time you go to the candy store. I remember years ago I owed him some $10. I owed him $10, $20. Take $20, tell them, what is it? Say someone said he once owed you. That's all. Take care of the problem. You don't have to make things painful for yourself. You don't have to be uncomfortable. You just take care of the problem. If you owe any money, make sure you pay for that money. Because that was not what to do. If you owe someone money, there's no way to clean that off. You have to make sure. How much money now? Let's say someone knows that he used to take candies, he used to forget to pay. It's at least $75. It must be all those candies. I don't know how much. Maybe it's $300. Maybe $75. What do you do now? How do you fix that one? So the same idea. Don't forget. If you don't know for a fact you ever owed the money, you're not obligated. But whatever you know that you owed, you're not sure if you paid, then you really should be paying it. If so, let's see. You used to take candies. I'm sure it's not you. Again, for example, someone knows that he used to once take candies without permission and didn't pay for them when he was a kid, when he was young, whatever, So a person he has to pay for the candy. How much candies? The answer is, you know how much candies? Whatever you know, it must be $75. Must have been. More than that, I don't know. So more than that, you're not obligated. $75, you are obligated. So this is the idea. Also with money, also with feelings, or any other kind of wrong, we're obligated to ask forgiveness. It's a mitzvah. The latest is Erev Yom Kippur. The smartest is before Rosh Hashanah. Now, because on Rosh Hashanah, before Rosh Hashanah, Hashem is going to make the din. Hashem is going to judge. You got to clean up before Rosh Hashanah. Before Yom Kippur is a special reason why to ask forgiveness. Why? Because there's a mitzvah to let your soul be completely clean before Yom Kippur. Bifnei Hashem titau. That's the Mishnah Berurah says. Sifa. The what? Before Yom Kippur, you must come out clean. Hashem wants you to have a good year. Hashem wants you to have everything good. So He wants you to clean up everything, as they say. Clean up everything. So ask forgiveness. When you ask forgiveness, everything comes out clean. All the things you once hurt someone anyway, it becomes out clean. So Yom Kippur is the latest, but the smartest before Rosh Hashanah, before Hashem starts judging the whole thing. This is the right way how to do it. Yes, what are you asking?
If the still as a kid, the store closed down already.
It's such a good question. If you're able to find out who's the owner, good chance that someone in the neighbor is going to know who's the owner. So they find some smart way. I remember they once owed you some money. I think I once owed you some money. So call them up. You have some way I could send it to you, some way. Find out in the telephone book, whatever, the guy's name, and just try to send it to him or whatever.
So you can't find the owner.
That's a big problem. So I heard the name of Rabbi Scheinberg Zatzal. He used to say, so take those $20, give it for the mitzvah of charity, let's say, for the merit of the one they owe that money to. And this way you say, you are sure his neshama is going to forgive you because he's going to want that mitzvah of charity that you just gave for him, for his merit. He's going to want that mitzvah of the charity. So he's going to forgive you at the end, on the fact, because if you're not going to forgive, he's not going to get that charity. You might as well forgive and get that mitzvah of charity. You understand?
That works also with the non-Jew.
If the owner is a non-Jew, that's already a very complicated question. Meaning, also you should try to find out who the owner is and so on. A Jew, in his nature, has a certain nature of mercy, the Gemara says. And therefore, he's quicker if he knows he doesn't want you to suffer, after all. Even if he's angry at you, he doesn't really want you to suffer till the end, you know? So he's going to have more mercy on you quicker than a non-Jew. There could be even nice people who are non-Jews. But even though it could be very nice people, but the idea of the mercy on a person who really could upset them and have mercy at the end, by Jews, it's a Jewish nature more of at the end for mercy. And therefore, if anyway he's not going to get his money, why not just forgive? It's a Jewish trait. It's a Jewish kind of thing. By a Jew, it's going to work much quicker. If it's to a non-Jew, you have to work it out. Go to someone who could have different ideas how to help you in different ways of how to work out. Because to get him to get the mercy is a much more difficult thing. Understand? Any other questions? Okay. Yeah.
So say one shortchanges a taxi driver they shortchange a taxi driver knowingly and get away with it, and then they don't know who this taxi driver ever was.
Oh, that's a big problem. I have to be very careful. It shouldn't happen. But someone that did this, so as long as the Jewish one, even though if he's not religious, there's some good trait in his soul. I once saw a taxi driver with long hair and everything else, and he never kippah, but he had a good heart. He had a golden heart, and I saw he looked very happy. I like people. So I asked him openly, I'm so happy you look happy. Share me. Why you look at such a big smile? I'm happy with you together. Share me. He's been uncomfortable. I said, push. He told me he owed someone money, and the person forgot he owed it. And he knows there's Hashem in the world, so he paid it up, and he feels so good of himself. That's why he looks so happy. I was so happy. Look at a holy soul. You know what I mean? That if he was a Jew, so good chances that if you do the idea of Rabbi Scheinberg of giving the charity to his merit, and by this they should forgive, I'm almost sure, after all, he's deep down, then he's going to, after 120, he's going to finish his life, his neshama is going to forgive you. You know what I mean? Because he wants the mitzvah of charity, he doesn't want you just to suffer. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's going to be okay, as they say. You know what I mean? But a person is very careful, it shouldn't be.
And how much effort are you supposed to do to make amends with someone? Like you said, the 3 apologies, but like how much effort should we go into doing, like returning money or trying to reach a person if they're not responding?
A person has to try. Once it's a question, he owes money, he must find some way. And if it's impossible, there's another idea of trying to do something, helping the public, but just try to get back, because owing money is a serious problem. We have to try to get back any money we owe. We have to try to get it back in some way. We have to really try hard to do this. And someone that tries, Hashem helps them usually to get there. If it's not going, let's say someone opened a store and he cheated a lot of times, So the Gemara says what we should do is, we should do something to help the public. Put outside a water stand that people have water. Some idea, just helping the public. And this way, even also those who were wronged are being paid back in some way. You try your best, and Hashem, no one's asked to be angel. You have to try your best, and Hashem helps you, it's going to work out. You know what I mean?
Say that for the course of the last year and there, we forgot to give someone 5 shekels, 3 shekels, whatever. Can we give, say, 50 shekels on tonight if the scholar should be divided amongst anybody you might have liked?
Better than nothing. If a person owes a lot of people, let's say he asked 3 shekels for this one, from that one over here in the yeshiva. For example, there's a thing called the gemach of helping the public over here. For example, he puts papers or pens to be used and to put back. But in the meantime, the people, they forget. You ask 3 shekel, 5 shekel, you forget all about it. They say they're getting good. They're being paid back. And they have pens. They don't have a pen to write, they'll have a pen. When they need papers, it's there, they have like a basket or something with papers and pens or whatever. And you're helping the public. This way, whoever you owe a shekel here and a shekel there, you hope they'll use them to be paid back in some way. What way? You try your best. Everyone should try his best as long as he can.
When paying back something from many years ago, do you have to take into account inflation?
The money is the money. If let's say this kind of a candy then costed a dime, and now it costs $1.50, but so what? But you owe the dime. You don't owe more than that thing. It was that.
Every night before Shema, we say, Ribono Shalom, Harini Mochel.
Wonderful.
So can we assume the Shopowner also says bedtime Shema?
We hope so.
Good.
Wonderful. So not always is the one that we made a mistake about to him. Does he always say the mochel, But here comes the next step. What do? You ask forgiveness. And you say, you forgive me? Yeah. You see on his nose, deep down, he really doesn't forgive. He says, yeah, because he feels uncomfortable with you. But deep down, he doesn't really forgive you. Do you look at his heart? I don't see his heart. I don't know what's going on, but I see in his face he doesn't really mean, when he says forgiveness, he's saying it, but it's not with the whole heart. Is that good enough? You have to keep looking for ideas. There's 2 opinions about this, but try your utmost best to really buy his heart. It should be with the heart. You can keep trying, same answer. This is all different questions as far as the one who did the mistake is asking forgiveness. What about the one who's being asked to forgive? Is he supposed to say, no, I'm not forgiving? Is that the right thing to do? Or are you supposed to say, no, of course I forgive you. I really suffered. It was painful for me and I forgive you anyway. Are you supposed to say you forgive anyway? Says the Mishnah Berurah in Taf Resh Chet at the end of Sif Aleph in the Shara Tziyun. It's if you're smart, you'll forgive. What do you gain from the fact that the other one has a sin? What are you getting from that? You might as well forgive him. If you see he regrets it, why not forgive him? What do you get from saying, no, I don't forgive you? Or even you say forgive in your heart you don't. It's not easy. A lot of people did us a lot of bad. A lot of people went through a lot of suffering from a lot of people in different ways. But if we forgive, Hashem forgives us. And then Hashem can give us all kind of nice things. It's worth it for us to be the forgiver. Yes.
Let's say...
Just a second.
Yeah.
Unless you think this guy, he's not a good guy. When I say forgive, he's going to do it to me again. If I don't really answer him, you forgive me? I'm going to do it in 2 minutes from now. Forgive me? He's playing a joke at me. He doesn't. So I don't want him to do bad to me. So that's not called asking forgiveness. Forgiveness means he's not going to do it again. So therefore, if you think by forgiving, say, I forgive you, he's going to do it again. Then you don't say forgive. But if you think that he's really regrets, he's not going to do bad to me again, why not forgive? You're supposed to forgive. It's the right thing to forgive. And you gain from it. And then Hashem give you a lot of good. Yes, sorry.
That was my question.
Oh, I had a feeling there that was it. Okay. So, now there's another big problem. Children are not knowledgeable to really forgive. A grown-up understands, the guy owes me $10, either I forgive it or I don't. I was hurt, either I forgive or I don't. What's the halacha? When it comes to a child's forgiving is not a real forgiving. He's not bright enough. You see so many times a kid gives another kid his candy. 2 minutes, I want it back. What did he give? He gave it to him already. He doesn't have the clarity of being the clear decision, a finalized decision. Child is not there. He doesn't have that thing, and therefore the child his forgiveness is not a complete forgiveness. So even let's say you damaged the kid or you embarrassed him or whatever, after he grows up, also ask forgiveness. I'm so sorry. On a mistake, you hurt him, whatever. So you ask him, forgive me. I'm sure he'll say forgives. If you know the kid, it's kedai after his bar mitzvah, and he's more knowledgeable, ask him. If it was really something painful, it's kedai to ask him again to get a full forgiveness, because the forgiveness as a child was not good enough. So these are different halachot about forgiving. And don't forget the forgiveness, you try to buy out his heart to the extent that you really think that the forgiveness is really there. It's not up for show. There's one case you're not obligated to forgive. And that is when the person wronged you in a way that can't be fixed. What is that? If someone tells all the friends, this guy did this and this bad thing. It's not even true. He never did this. He never did this bad thing. Joe said about Mo that Mo did this terrible thing, and it's a lie. He never did the bad thing. He's just saying, tell everyone. So everyone knows Mr. Mo did the bad thing, which he never did. It's a kind of bad that can never be fixed. Because once people believe a lie about him, how are you going to fix that one? If you owe him money, you can fix it. Give him some money, took care of the thing. He felt bad. Time flies. After time flies, you forgive, I forgive, best friends, it's all over. But when it comes, someone told all the friends, everyone, a bad thing about the guy. It's not true. He just lied. He said something bad about him. Go prove it to all the friends. They all believe it. How are you going to fix that one? The halacha, you're not, such a thing is really not obligated to forgive, because it's a thing can't be fixed. But the right thing is Hashem wants you to do is to forgive even on that. That is why we say in Tefillah Zakah, I forgive everyone. Unless someone owes me money, I want to pay the money. For any kind of hurt, of any kind, I want to forgive. Now, another question, on the person who is being asked, please forgive me, you know you're so furious, you're so angry at the guy. He really hurt me, he really did bad thing. And he thinks just in 2 seconds he's going to say, after all the bad he did to me, forgive. How could I? It's so painful for me. I still feel the pain in my heart till this day, after all those years. It's so hard for me to really feel. Should I be saying I forgive and I really don't mean it? Just saying forgive and it's not true, in your heart you don't forgive, you can't do that. You can't lie. What you could do is try to forgive. It sounds painful, it's hard. But try to forgive. As long as you're trying, you're able to say you forgive. You're trying your best. But if you just inside one thing, inside you're really angry, and outside you feel something else, that's not the way. So listen, it's painful. I'm trying to overcome. Come back in a couple of days. He'll realize he's not going to do it again. But except for that, but you have to really try. Try to clean out your heart. Okay? Yeah.
Is there anything that's too small to ask for forgiveness? I mean, like go up to someone and say, "Hey, I used your pencil when I didn't ask." He's gonna think it's silly.
You're saying so wonderful. If it's a person that you know he would let you, if you only ask him, for sure he would let. Then there's a Balatanya, Shulchan Aruch Harav, that it sounds like he holds like the opinion of the Shach, the Shach in Shulchan Aruch Choshen Mishpat. If you know he's a good friend, you know if you ask him to let, he lets. So you don't have to ask forgiveness because you know he lets. There are poskim that say it's permissible. If you don't know if he would let, he's angry at you. Then don't use it. And then you should have forgiveness. But usually someone's asking, if you know 100% that he lets you, you know he lets. So if you ask him, even better. If you didn't, it's not that's forgiveness about. Okay, you really didn't do any wrong in the first place. Because as long as you know for a fact that he's going to let you, the opinion of the Shach is Siftei Kohen and the Shulchan Aruch, Choshen Mishpat, and the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch. He holds that it's, as long as you know, if you would ask, he would let you, you're allowed without asking. So if you didn't do anything wrong, you didn't do anything wrong, because if you would ask, you know he would let you. If you know that if you'd ask, he would let you. So there are opinions that say you're allowed to. So you don't have to ask forgiveness because you know that he would let you to do so in the first place. So it's not that's forgiveness about. You understand?
But not just in cases of theft, but just very small things in general. Like maybe you said something to someone that it wasn't a lie, but it was like a little whatever. You go to him, you say, I said this, but I really meant this. Like, what's too far?
If you think that the person is a bit hurt, it's correct to ask him, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. If he's not hurt, it's not nothing. Nothing is a nothing. But if maybe he was hurt, sometimes you don't mean it. Mirza Hashem to get married, you have to remember that one. But a lot of times wives, you didn't mean it. You said a word, and the wife is very insulted. She's not going to tell you. She'll mind you 5 years later. Very careful. So if someone might be hurt, ask forgiveness, because maybe he was hurt. Yeah.
An example of the bar or Shulchan for a mitzvah, like if somebody would use your tefillin, for example, but not just for its stam thing.
Beautiful, very nice. There's two Shulchan Aruch, one Chot Pikadon, one Kuntus Acharon. There is a Kuntus Acharon that only uses the Shach opinion as a heter lechatchila legabe mitzvot. Beautiful, very nice. The Arabanim, they're makelik the Shach kamoishehu without dvar mitzvah. So by mitzvahs for sure it's mutter. If not, there are two opinions. But legabe asking forgiveness, when a lot of Rabbanim say it's anyway it's mutter, so for sure no it's forgiveness. You understand? Yeah.
If you're on the forgiving end and someone's apologizing to you, and you feel that they're apologizing just because like they really have to, and you don't know if they really have the kavanah that they really feel the charata for it. What is the responsibility?
Very smart question. The answer is, you could tell him, as long as you don't do it again, I forgive you. And that way you know, if he's scared that by saying the forgiveness, it doesn't mean I might do it again. If you say, I forgive you, as long as you don't do it again, I forgive you. And that way he'll think it twice, it's going to hurt you again. And he took care of all the problems. Okay, yeah?
What when he said, should we try to do something as in, I don't know if we can always do this, but what Yosef Atzadik did was he tried to get his brothers into the same situation to actually see if they can do shuvah. So that's something that we're supposed to do.
Beautiful. Yosef Atzadik, you mean the Rabbeinu Bechaya, right? So I see you're a big Talmid Chacham. So he's asking a beautiful question. The brothers of Yosef Atzadik, the children of Yaakov Avinu, they thought that Yosef Atzadik is a bad, wicked guy, and they have to get rid of him. They were sure that he's such a bad, wicked guy, and they made a mistake. And therefore they did him wrong. But at the end, he tried to get them to come and ask forgiveness. Are you supposed to do that? I don't advise it. Because Yosef is a big tzaddik. He only wanted to save them from the sin. But therefore he's coming to help them, to get them to come to ask forgiveness. But someone that's trying to be a bit harsh or something with his friend, it's a personal revenge. We're not big enough tzaddikim, and we're not so super righteous to be able to say, I'm only doing it to help the guy. I'm acting not nice to him, and I just want to help the guy. Usually there's some revenge going on. Revenge already is forbidden. Okay. Yeah.
What if we did it and that person is no longer here?
Beautiful question. You know what? I'll tell you a story. That I said yesterday in the Mir Yeshiva in front of hundreds of people. And I'll tell you guys also. And listen to this. You'll be shocked out of your wits. As an answer to your question. About 6 years ago, a Talmid Chacham, an older Talmid Chacham in the Mir Yeshiva came over to me. He says like this. 2 weeks approximately before Rosh Hashanah, he had a very strange, weird dream. A dream is only a dream, but after all, it was a dream. Okay? Listen to this. This is some story. A very strange kind of dream. He dreamt, Rav Yashiv is telling him that, do you remember some 30 years ago, someone hurt you tremendously and you never said you forgive? You never said you forgive. Do you forgive him? I forgot all about it. 20 years ago I forgot about it. It's true, it really happened. Yes, I forgive. He went on and he said like this. It's only a dream, but the dream gives you a shamayim. He says, listen, his dream of Lash was telling him, what's with you? Didn't you also once hurt someone you never asked forgiveness? Rabbi, I don't remember. I try never to hurt anyone. I don't remember such a thing. So, what happened was, try to remember. He woke up. He felt terrible. Felt such a conscience. He was walking around without a head, as they say, for 2 weeks, till Rosh Hashanah. A couple of hours before Rosh Hashanah, he remembered. When he was 14 years old, he had someone taught him Gemara in the afternoon. It's called Pkiyut, Shi'ur Pkiyut it's called. Easy Gemara. He was 14 years old. It was a Mechinah Shiva Ktana, and the rabbi was teaching them. His name was Harav Segal. Harav Natan Simcha, or Simcha Natan Segal. Harav Segal was the son-in-law of a famous rabbi called Rav Shalom Shvadron. Okay. So, listen to this. Shocking. He remembers all of a sudden now, a couple of hours before Rosh Hashanah, that some 30 years ago, maybe more, 40 years ago, I don't know how long, maybe more, he had talked not nice to the rabbi, very chutzpah, very not nice. He hurt him very badly. He was a foolish kid. He talked very, he doesn't remember why, he talked very not nice to the rabbi. And the rabbi left the yeshiva. He thought, kids who talk so not, why should I teach them? He left. He never had asked, and the guy had passed away, he never had asked them for forgiveness. Listen to this. So, the whole Rosh Hashanah, he was horrified. He felt so bad. It's a good thing he had the dream to remember the thing, He forgot all about it. The day after Rosh Hashanah, Tzom Gedalia, I helped him, after the shir, to collect 10 guys to go to the cemetery, Har HaMenuchot. We found out, my wife knows the family of Segal, of Shimon Shvadron. She asked over there, where's he buried? So I found out he's buried like 2 minutes away from Shimshon Pinkus in Har HaMenuchot. 5 graves next to him, 4 or 5 graves next to him. Okay. So we got together 3 cabs to get a minyan. There are 10 guys from the Meir Shiva to go to the cemetery to ask forgiveness. The guy who remembered all of a sudden that he hurt the guy and the guy passed away, when he came to the cemetery, he took off his shoes. It says in Halachah, he took off his shoes and he walked on the pebbles with his socks. He walked on the pebbles to come to ask forgiveness from the grave of Rabbi Segal that passed away. And then in front of 10 guys, he said, I'm asking Mechila, I was wrong. Tens of years ago, I talked not nicely with chutzpah. I was terrible. I feel so bad. I never do such a thing again. I really regret it. I'll never hurt a person like that again. And everyone said together, that's the halacha. All 10 people together say, machulach, machulach, machulach. Meaning, it's forgiven, forgiven, forgiven. He did what he could. Well, the guy passed away. He went to the cemetery. What else could he do? So he asked forgiveness. Listen to this. Finished. After this, a couple of months later, it was Tisha B'Av. I was asked to speak in a certain place, and Tisha B'Av by night, I should speak over there. I spoke about the importance of Ben Adam L'Chaviro, being a good person to other people. That's what I spoke about. I said this story. After I finished speaking, a guy over there comes over to me, about 35, I would say, with a blonde beard, about 35, came over to me, and he said that, he came with him with tears, and he said, please, I want to drive you home, okay? I said, Bavakasha, why not? Well, yeah. He drove me home. In the car, he started to cry. He said, he's not a young guy. I'm ready to finishing. So, he said, I'm not a young guy. He's married for years, no kids. His wife was pregnant. And he talked very not nice about someone that passed away. Very not nice. The person he talked again, so it was Talmid Chacham, he talked very not nice. Very shortly afterwards, his wife said she has terrible pains in the stomach. It was a miscarriage. And since then, she's never became pregnant again. He's about 35. He was in tears. What should he do? Tell him, you also try it. Take off your shoes. Take the thing, guys. Ask forgiveness. Afterwards, before next Pesach, he wanted, I should say, a Shabbos HaGodol drasha for Shabbat HaGadol. He came to ask me to come over. He whispered in my ear. After he asked forgiveness, his wife became pregnant again. That's the answer to your question. Okay, it's already late. Any other questions? Yeah, the what?
What's the idea behind dipping the apple in the honey?
What?
What's the idea behind dipping?
In the very beginning, I said, I'll tell you, you're saying a good question. The answer is, you are showing, says the Gemara, you are expressing the request from Hashem to give you a sweet year. It's not by speech, it's by a maise, by act. You're doing an act. Hashem, I'm dipping thing to a honey to express my request, my begging. I want a sweet year. It's even better, says the Mishnah, but you also ask orally with your mouth. Say, Hashem should help you a sweet year. Also your mouth. But even the thing itself also is a great thing. Any other questions?
Yeah, so you know how you said like when we sin, it's not hurting Hashem, it's hurting ourselves. Isn't that like the reason why it's kind of easy to sin because you feel like, oh, it only affects myself?
You sing so beautiful. I'll explain you something. When a child does bad to himself, he's not doing only bad to himself. The tears of his mother, the tears of his father, when he does bad to himself, what he did to them, Hashem is a tati, Hashem loves us. And also Kaviyachal, we're hurting him so much, Kaviyachal, that we're doing bad to ourselves, so we're hurting Kaviyachal him. But it's not just that. It's not personal revenge because we hurt him. It's not the idea. Because he wants us to have good. You always say loud.
Our parents love us so much and Hashem loves us so much that we also feel like sometimes it can be easier to be.
You're saying beautiful. But the truth is, Hashem knows what's good for us. And Hashem says when you do bad, the only way sometimes is operation. Sometimes a person makes himself such a bad thing. He makes himself gangrene. He did such a bad thing that the only way is something painful. But the father's going to do it because he has to be done. So if he didn't, even if he did to himself, the father has to help. The father has to do the operation. He has to take care of it. Anything else? Yeah.
Should we be thinking about people that maybe we have bad feelings towards and do mechila even if they don't?
Yes. Even though an halacha, if you never ask forgiveness, you're not obligated. When tefillah zakah, we say before Yom Kippur, before Kol Nida and Yom Kippur, we see over there you are supposed to. It's a smart thing, and they don't have halacha obligation halacha, but it's a smart thing. The right thing for your own sake, as we saw in Mishnah Berurah, is to forgive even though you didn't ask. What do you care? Hashem will give you good for it. Yeah.
Is prayer more effective when you're praying for yourself or for other people?
You sing such a beautiful question. Such a beautiful question. The answer is like this. It's just like if someone's in jail, someone gets a key, open up the door. You can't open the door. But on the other side, if you're not going to walk out when the door is open, you're not going to get out. When someone else is davening for you, he's opening the door for you. You can't help yourself. And someone's davening for someone else, let's say someone to be a chatan. He wants to already be a chatan. He knows this boy is in shidduchim for 3 years. It's not going. If he's down for someone else, good chances he'll become a chatan before he knows himself, because he's such a big mitzvah. He's helping someone else and his prayer is someone else. But it's more like opening the door. When Joe is davening about Mo, he's like opening the door for Mo. But it says in the pasuk that the one. But after all, you have to walk out of jail. Hashem heard Kol Hanar. Hagar, his mother, was crying and davening, opened the door for him. Hashem heard the Kol Hanar. After all, that's some kind of squeak. He also has down for himself. So the beautiful question. The answer is, you need someone else sometimes to open the door, to make Hashem accept your prayer. But after, you have to also pray for yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to go. You have to be the one walking out of jail. Understand? Yeah?
So, let's say if a person owes you money, but like you don't want to deal with Hazard Shalom, them not paying you back and all that, so could you forgive them the money but then still accept it if they try to pay it back?
If you completely forgive, there's two opinions. According to the Ksot HaChosh and Tivot HaMishpat, you could still take it. According to V'Tum, you can't. But I have advice for you. Make it t'nai. Meaning, say like this. If he ends up dying without paying, I forgive. And if something's going to pop up, I don't forgive. That's the best way. And then for sure you're able to receive the money back. Understand?
If he dies right and before he pays me back, I forgive him.
The what? Exactly. Okay. Why should he suffer in hell for nothing, Anyway, okay, one more. Any other questions? Yeah.
So someone who takes, going back to overtime what we're paying.
I didn't have to begin, sorry.
Someone who steals from, let's say, like a big non-Jewish company, not one owner, CEO and a board and on and on. In that situation, should a person be giving tzedakah in merit of their faith? Or what's the best way to go about that?
Such a good question. a lot of times, even the big companies, but the private store has someone in charge for small decisions. If you're able to speak to the one in charge over there, if the store is still there, you owe him $20, just find some way to stick in $20. Tell someone that I owe them $20. When you get pay extra $20. And the thing is over. If some reason you can't do that, for some reason or other, but you're able to speak to the guy in charge, say, I remember $20. They'll say, forget it. If he has the rights to make decisions, that'll be the easy way for you. Because a lot of times the head of this particular store, or whatever, has some kind of rights. Some decisions, small decisions. So either you pay up, or else you go to him. I remember that. How should I go about it? Say, forget about it. He has the right to do so. You took care of the problem. Yeah?
So, can Yom Kippur, to
Say a bit louder.
sorry, can Rosh Hashanah, do we have to think about things we've done in the way distant past as well? Like when I was young, we used to play on the game line, we used to call the pizza for the neighbors, and they didn't order it, it'd be like funny. And for years, I tried to find this place, that we called, and the owner had changed like 4 or 5 times. Should I still give money to this Trey pizza place to atone for the...
The question is, also you have to find out what happened over there. Meaning, did you have to pay for the pizza?
No, they just, I assume that the people at the store either ate it or they threw it out.
So you didn't make any monetary loss. It just made. If you didn't make any monetary loss, it was just a prank that just maybe upset them, kind of a thing. Yeah. So what can you do? So if there's nothing what to do, ask Hashem to forgive. If you're able to ask forgiveness, ask. If you don't know who to ask forgiveness from, even just try as best we saw before. A person just does whatever he could. More than that, what can you do? There's no way physically to do anything in any way. So you know what to do. Yeah.
What if you were an hourly worker and you
a what worker?
Like working paid by the hour.
Yeah.
So it's not like a salary position where you just have to get your stuff done. It doesn't matter how long it takes. So if there's hourly work, so you find stuff to do the full hour, but you're not very on the ball. So you get on your phone for some of the time. So basically you play on your phone on the owner's.
Beautiful question. The right thing is the person is very careful, very honest, filling up the whole hour properly. But as far as once already whatever is done. So as far as worldly accepted, people are not so super righteous to be super careful the way really it should be. So whoever takes a worker, he knows he's going to act normal as long as in the borderline of normal. So the next time when one tries better, as far as the past, it's a late. Yeah, what are you saying? Yeah. Yeah. And that is, yeah.
So, say a company I did business with, they owe me a quantity of money and they always refuse to pay. And I know, I put it out in the community of businessmen that this company is not paying, be warned. Perhaps they continue to practice this. Is there any merit in forgiving them or not forgiving them?
Are the Jews? Jewish? Not Jews. So the truth is like this. Whenever there's people who are wronging people, whether Jews, whether non-Jews, but if these people are doing wrong, taking workers and not paying them, people should be warned. The right thing is, because there's no other way, warning people, whether Jewish, whether not Jewish. But it's not called lashon hara, it's l'to'elet. Just don't exaggerate it. You're not allowed to exaggerate. But say the facts, yes, they have to be saved. Yeah.
If you were on a bus and forgot to pay.
So next time, if you pay on the same kind of bus twice on the Rav-Kav, better than nothing. Because you make as if 2 guys went on this time. Last time, you owe them a thing on the Rav-Kav. You know what I mean? So it doesn't completely do it, but it's better than nothing. Okay? We should all have a Gemar Chatima Tova. It's so nice to talk to you guys. You see how you're so thirsty. You're such special people. We should all have a good, wonderful year.